Hello, welcome to HITC Sport. Alright, is everyone excited for Euro 2021? Of course you are, because the English media are once again force-feeding hype down your throats. Good Christ, after 9 months of senseless propaganda stuffed up your nose, you probably all believe that Jack Grealish is the English Kaka. Trust me, Kaka's first touch alone would very quickly make him look like Gary Gardner. So what I'm gonna do is go through the current 23-man England squad and just help to diffuse the hype. For every player, I'm gonna pick one underrated player who also played for their same club, who was actually a better player, but yet never got the same English hype in the media. Right, let's go. Jordan Pickford, Tim Howard. From the hype in 2018, you'd assume Jordan Pickford was gonna be Everton's best goalie for about 40 goddamn years. No, he's not even a better goalie than his predecessor. Let's not forget, Tim Howard was a damn reliable shot stopper. Over 400 games for Everton, 121 caps for the USA, and has a World Cup record, saving 16 shots against Belgium in one goddamn match. Hands up, does anyone, any living being or organism on the planet, think that Pickford is ever capable of saving 16 shots in one match? Maybe downing 16 shots and punching a bouncer. Maybe, but as a goalkeeper, he's about as reliable as a punctured condom. Dean Henderson, Fabian Barthez. Yeah, this is pretty simple. Listen, I rate Dean Henderson, but is he really Manchester United's undisputed future? Fabian Barthez was mostly laughed out of Old Trafford, an erratic, ever-strewn goalie, but still a Champions League winner with Marseille, a two-time Premier League champion, oh yeah, and won both the World Cup and Euro 2000 with France. Put that CV versus the former Stockport, Grimsby and Sheffield United goalie with just one cap to his name, and it's not looking good for Hendo. Kyle Walker, Pablo Zabaleta. Listen, I realise Kyle Walker's had a great season and is a £50 million superstar for Man City, but lads, again, he's not even the best right back at the Etihad inside the last 10 years. No, Pablo Zabaleta was an underrated £6 million buy from Espanyol, but I promise you, were this guy born in Croydon as opposed to Buenos Aires, the English media would have held up Zabaleta as one of the greatest right backs to ever breathe oxygen. Kieran Trippier, Juan Fran. Listen, I realise Kieran Trippier is a top-class right back, but again, Juan Fran was a top-class right back who made nearly 400 appearances for Atletico Madrid. He won La Liga, 2 Europa Leagues, reached 2 Champions League finals, oh yeah, and won Euro 2012 with Spain. And yet most of you probably wouldn't be able to tell him, apart from your local postman. Put some respect on Juan Fran's name. Reece James, Paulo Ferreira.
Chelsea coach Paulo Ferreira blown away by fantastic Reece James.
Listen, yes, Reece James is a good, surprise young right back for Chelsea, but is he better than Paulo Ferreira? Sure, the Portuguese was mostly second choice in his 9 years at Stamford Bridge, but still, the man was a 2-time Champions League winner, represented Chelsea over 200 times, has over 60 caps for Portugal, and lifted 3 Premier League titles. Yeah, I think he's better than James. Harry Maguire, Johnny Evans. Yeah, we live in a world where a human postbox like Harry Maguire not only plays every week for Manchester United, but actually has the captain's armband. Kinda makes a mockery of the whole thing. Again, it's like if Harry Styles gets a knighthood. I'm sorry, if he were at Old Trafford under Fergie, the man would be a 4th choice centre-half stuffed to the bench. And I'm sorry, I maintain that Johnny Evans would have made a far better captain for Manchester United than Maguire, and he was treated at the club like a soggy wet potato. Roy Keane lauded this man's leadership at Sunderland. Ask Keane what he thinks of Maguire, and he'll probably fetch up his lunch. Michael Keane, Sylvain Distin. Listen, Michael Keane isn't the defensive nightmare that I thought he was. I'll admit, when he first arrived at Goodison Park for 30 million quid, I thought it was about as clever as cleaning out earwax with a knife and fork, but he's actually been pretty good. But Sylvain Distin wasn't just some obscure French defender who played as though his ankles were tied together. No, put some respect on that man's name. An FA Cup winner with Portsmouth, a centre-back who played 15 consecutive seasons in the Premier League with over 400 appearances. No other foreign outfield player has ever registered more Premier League games than him. And yet, we live in a world where a defensive omelette like Jean-Alain Boumsong can play nearly 30 times for France while he just gets ignored on the couch. You'd swear he'd snuck into Raymond Dominic's house and romance his dog in the bath. Anyway, Distin spent 6 years at Goodison Park before being replaced by John Stones. I'm sorry, he's better than Keane will ever be. Tyrone Mings, Richard Dunn. Listen, Tyrone Mings has proved me wrong. I used to think this guy was just some clumsy mountain troll whose brand of defending just consisted of squashing the opposition's head into mashed potato. But lads, he's a much more composed and refined centre back and one of the best defenders in the league. But again, lads, can you imagine if Richard Dunn was English? Take it from me, he was a heroic, no-nonsense centre half who stopped 10 Russians on his own and was named Man City Player of the Year 4 seasons running, and he made the PFA Team of the Year with Aston Villa. You're damn right he'd make Mings look like a piss-soaked lunchbox. Ben Chilwell, Philippe Luis. Yeah, I know Philippe Luis failed at Chelsea, but that doesn't mean he wasn't a better defender than Ben Chilwell. He just couldn't settle in the country. No, he didn't cost 50 million quid, but the guy played nearly 50 games for Brazil, won La Liga, Copa del Rey, 2 Europa Leagues, and reached 2 Champions League finals with Atletico Madrid. He comfortably puts Chilwell to sleep. Can you imagine that guy being picked 50 times by Brazil? It would look about as natural as seeing Wayne Bridge in a Brazil shirt. Mason Mount Deco. Listen, I'm not going to dispute that Mason Mount is a very good player, and he's been brilliant for Chelsea ever since breaking into the team. But please, can we just take a few breaks on the hype train? I've seen people try and tell us that he's the next Frank Lampard. No, Lampard's legacy of the club is unquestioned. Mount, if he was born 10 years earlier, would most likely have been stuffed on a Chelsea bench with Steve Sidwell. Deco only lasted 2 years at Stamford Bridge and was mostly inconsistent in England, but lads, when he was on form, the man was verging on world class, chipping in with 30-yard screamers and bicycle kicks under Luis Felipe Scolari. If Mount attempted a bicycle kick, he'd probably end up in a wheelchair. Chuck Deco in this Chelsea team and he'd be the club's best player. Declan Rice, Thomas Souček. Don't let the English hype fool you. Yes, it's fashionable to slap a £50 million price tag on an England international and choose to just ignore the cheap signing from out the back of Prague. But make no mistake about it, as a defensive midfielder, Souček is comfortably the better of the two. Price Wolf, he's only got 10 goals this season. Jordan Henderson, Xabi Alonso. Okay, well this is obvious. I know Jordan Henderson is one of the most influential captains in the history of Liverpool, but again, obviously, Xabi Alonso had more natural talent in his crinkled nutsack than this guy does in his entire being. Can you imagine if this guy was English? He'd probably be wedged into the Scholes Lampard-Gerrard debate, instead of being mentioned in the same conversation as Gareth Barry. I mean, come on. Phil Foden, Samir Nasri. Okay, this is controversial. Yes, because of Phil Foden's superior levels of motivation and dedication to his sport, he will unquestionably have a better career than Samir Nasri. But if we're talking pure natural ability, then I think Nasri just pips him if only he had Foden's work rate and desire. Because let's be honest, Nasri pissed his career down the sink in a wave of cheeseburgers and Pepsi. But trust me, were Nasri born in London and not the outskirts of Paris, and the English media would have dubbed that guy the Shepherd Bush version of Zidane. James Ward-Prowse, Dusan Tadic. Yeah, this is pretty simple. I know James Ward-Prowse is now an England regular and smacks in a cracking free kick, but again, can you imagine if former Southampton midfielder Dusan Tadic was English? Can you imagine what the tabloid journalists would have done then? Good Christ, he'd be treated as royalty. Underappreciated when he was in England. It took him until he moved to Ajax for everyone to realise how good he was. You know, when he scored 38 goals and registered 23 assists in his debut season. Lads, imagine if an English person dared to put up those sort of stats. I don't care if the goals were in Holland. Paul Merson would be tossing himself off to Tadic's stats in his kitchen sink. Jude Bellingham, Nuri Sahin. Listen, Jude Bellingham might turn out to be an utter superstar, but can everyone please calm down? Good Christ, Birmingham City actually retired the shirt number worn by a 17-year-old. I'm sorry, but worshipping and fawning over the clothes that were worn by a teenage child? That's the type of creepy behaviour which would probably get your name put on a register. I rate the kid, but calm down before we start calling him the Stourbridge Pele. Playing in Dortmund's midfield at 17 years of age isn't some sort of revolutionary concept. Let's not forget, Nuri Sahin was playing for them aged 60, becoming their youngest ever player, and ended up playing over 200 times in their midfield, helping them to a Bundesliga title and a Champions League final. But did he turn out to be a world star? No, he just wound up being an injury-prone lump of custard creams, fading on loan at both Real Madrid and Liverpool. I'm pretty sure when Brendan Rodgers tells you to go and sit on the bench with Joe Allen, that's when you probably realise you're not going to win the Ballon d'Or after all. So please, calm down about poor old Jude. Jadon Sancho, Henrik Mkhitaryan. Again, I'm not squatting over Jadon Sancho's hype and squeezing out a constipated lump of pessimism here. Honestly, I'm not. Again, I rate the guy, and I do think he's one of the few English players who actually merits the hype. But I can still sit back and say he is slightly overhyped. Good Christ, the English press are comparing this guy to Messi. Let's not forget, they're the same thing with Ashley Young. Yes, the numbers he's putting up at Dortmund is impressive, but let's not forget, during the 15-16 season, under Thomas Tuchel, Henrik Mkhitaryan was scoring 23 goals and assisting 32 times in one goddamn season. Good Christ, he played 52 games that year and registered at least a goal or an assist in 34 of those matches. That is utterly ridiculous and definitely puts Sancho's 3 Bundesliga goals this season to shame. So yes, I think he will turn out to be a good player for Manchester United. But the next Ronaldo? Let's not forget, you signed Mkhitaryan off the back of that wonder season. A campaign of such high-end productivity that suddenly makes Sancho now resemble a fat Victor Moses. And yet, he absolutely stunk up Old Trafford. Jack Grealish, David Ginola. Listen, Jack Grealish is a damn good player, but some people react like he's the greatest ever specimen to ever walk through Villa Park. Listen, I know David Ginola was past his best at Aston Villa, and Grealish has been a far better player for the club, but still, when Ginola was in his prime, you know, the PSG and Newcastle wing wizard of the 90s, the guy who beat David Beckham to the PFA Player of the Year award in 1999, honestly, a prime Ginola would use Grealish as a pick to clean his teeth. Raheem Sterling, Leroy Sané. Yeah, this is controversial. And yes, Raheem Sterling is a goal machine, but am I the only one who thinks Sané has the potential to be the better player? They're both world-class players, but a bit like Ribery and Robin, I think one is slightly better than the other. And yes, let's revisit this in 5 years, and I think Sané will have had the better career. Mason Greenwood, Dwight York. Yeah, so Mason Greenwood is the next world star who's about to rip Alan Shearer's Premier League record to shreds, right? Listen, yes, he is a top young talent, but it's not anything we haven't seen before. Yes, he got 17 goals last season, but at the same age, age, Dwight Yorke was also netting 17 for Aston Villa and in 9 fewer games, and he went on to win the treble at Manchester United. But because he was from Trinidad and liked to spend his time romancing lumps of plastic, no one said anything. Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Louis Saha. Yes, Dominic Calvert-Lewin is a top goal scorer and a headache for most centre-backs, but is he really better than prime Louis Saha? A guy who also scored 15 goals a season for Fulham, Man United and Everton. He was also breaking into one of the most talented French squads of all time. It's close, but I'm picking Saha. Harry Kane, Robbie Keane. I wish I could stand here and say that Robbie Keane was a better... he wasn't. No. Harry Kane is literally the only player in the entire list who he's Spurs' greatest striker of all time, so... I can't really say anything here. Anyway, that's it. Let me know in the comments below. What do you think? Have I been too harsh? Let me know if you think some of these underrated players weren't actually better than the current England player. Let me know in the comments below if you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to subscribe, and as always, I'll talk to you in a while.